how we can improve the car. Of course, I know that we don't have the quickest car anyway at the moment, but
The Dutch GP this year was just incredible. This season's trajectory might have been entirely altered by what transpired at Zandvoort. Are we seeing the beginning of the Verstappen era's demise? Is McLaren capable of overthrowing the formidable Red Bull? And what about Ferrari? Have they managed to reclaim the top spot at last? We're going to dissect everything that happened this weekend in this video. We'll discuss the enigmatic issues that Red Bull is facing, the ascent of McLaren, the demise of Mercedes, and the resurrection of Ferrari. It looks like the championship is going to go completely upside down, friends. In order to receive updates on the forthcoming races, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Let's begin by discussing today's man of the moment, Lando Norris. Folks, what a fantastic race. The McLaren driver proved he was serious when he won his second Formula One race with utter dominance. Everything got off to a rather complicated start. In the first corner, Verstappen gained the lead from Norris, who had taken pole position. But wait a moment, that didn't seem to shake the bread. Norris maintained composure and demonstrated that McLaren had a very competitive package when he arrived at Zandvoort with a commendable performance. As the race went on, it was evident that McLaren was moving at an unbelievable pace. Not only did Norris overtake Verstappen for the lead, but he also created an insane lead. The difference to second place is more than 20 seconds. Norris even set the race's fastest lap on the final lap, as if that wasn't enough. We refer to that as complete dominion. This was no mere triumph of the ordinary. It was McLaren's declaration of intent. The Woking team demonstrated that their most recent improvements go beyond appearances. They have a vehicle that can go head-to-head with Red Bull, and Norris has shown to be the best driver to get the most out of this bundle. But the situation was very different from what McLaren was celebrating across the pit lane. At Zandvoort, Red Bull, the team that had been ruling the season with an almost despotic authority, faced its worst nightmare. Max Verstappen failed to win at home for the first time since the Dutch circuit was added back to the schedule. It wasn't for lack of effort either. The issue is that the RB20, a vehicle that up until then appeared unstoppable, made its flaws evident. Throughout the entire race, Verstappen, who is typically so assured and in control, seemed to be struggling with his own vehicle. The grievances heard on the radio were consistent and extremely insightful. I have oversteer and the car isn't turning at the same time. Quite challenging to drive. During the race, the three-time world champion said these things, and they weren't hyperbole. Serious balance issues and significantly excessive tire wear were seen with the RB20. Verstappen wasn't the only one who suffered, though. Sergio Perez on the other side of the garage had comparable issues. The Mexican was first to race, but he only managed to finish in 6th place. There's a basic issue with the vehicle. For Red Bull, this statement from Perez is very concerning. We are not discussing a singular issue or an incorrect configuration for a particular track. The phrase fundamental raises the possibility that the RB20's central idea is seriously flawed. Now, the crucial question is whether Red Bull can find a solution to these issues quickly enough to keep their lead in the championship, due to the fact that a particular team is dominating. Folks, this is where the most thrilling portion of the tale begins. Not only is McLaren winning races, they pose a major challenge to Red Bull's dominant position in the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships. Let's examine the figures. The Constructors' Championship lead between Red Bull and McLaren was down to only 30 points following the Dutch Grand Prix. Yes, 30. Red Bull, a squad that was seemingly unbeatable at the beginning of the season, is now cautiously glancing in the rearview mirror. Furthermore, in the Drivers' Championship, Lando Norris did, however, succeed in cutting Verstappen's advantage to 70 points. Although that might seem like a lot, the difference could disappear given the speed McLaren has been demonstrating. Red Bull's consultant Helmut Marko admitted the danger. According to him, Max is now behind Norris in the title. You know something serious when one of Red Bull's most influential men says something like that. The way McLaren has changed in recent races is nothing short of amazing. Not only have they surpassed Red Bull in terms of speed, but at certain tracks like Zandvoort, they have outrun the current champion handily. The key query that still has to be answered is if McLaren can continue to compete at this level until the conclusion of the recent past of Formula One, not to mention that there are still a lot more races left. New dynamics can be introduced to the track every weekend due to the continuous evolution of cars. McLaren has demonstrated that it is feasible to close the gap with Red Bull. It will now be interesting to see if they can keep up this rapid rate of progress. There's no denying that the 2024 championship has become much more intriguing. It seems like an epic clash between Red Bull and McLaren. And we're eager to watch how this plays out in the next races. But Red Bull and McLaren aren't the only big names in Formula One. Not to be forgotten when discussing former champion teams in the sport is Mercedes. What transpired at Zandvoort with them? George Russell placed a respectable 8th overall. The 7-time winner Lewis Hamilton made an impressive comeback, moving up from 14th to 8th place. However, this is unsatisfactory for a Mercedes-caliber squad, let's face it. For the German crew, the most concerning aspect is that these outcomes don't appear to be the product of a terrible day at work. The team principal, Toto Wolff, stated unequivocally that more fundamental issues need to be resolved. He said, "We need to look at the update kit. Something significant isn't working here in particular." Wolff's statement is concerning. Mercedes updated Zandvoort significantly in an attempt to increase performance. Nevertheless, it appears like they made a step back rather than ahead. There is a chance the Brackley squad will place 4th in the Constructors. Triumph. Will Mercedes be able to recognize and fix these issues in time to save their season is now the crucial question. Or will 2024 be just another forgettable year for the F1 squad that ruled the hybrid era? Wait, it's not quite over. Some teams appear to have found their stride, while others are having trouble. Ferrari proved they still had a lot of fight in them after a challenging start to the season. This past weekend, the Italian team's standout player was Charles Leclerc. The driver from Monegasque drove an impeccable race, starting 6th and finishing an unexpected 3rd. Carlos Sainz, who began the race far back in 10th place, made an incredible comeback to place 5th. What gives Ferrari the most hope is that this outcome appears to be more than just a coincidence. The squad outperformed Mercedes and got perilously near to Red Bull, demonstrating a truly competitive racing pace. For the Scuderia, this performance could not have come at a better moment. Ferrari's home event, the Italian Grand Prix, is quickly approaching, so the Morello team comes at Monza with a car package that at last looks like it makes sense. Will Ferrari be able to keep up this pace in the next races is the key question. If they succeed, we may witness not just 2, but 3 teams vying for supremacy in the upcoming championship stages. How about you? How did you feel about the season's turnabout? Do you believe McLaren can win the championship? Will Red Bull be able to address their issues? Is Ferrari able to keep up this pace at Monza? Post your thoughts in the comments section. Remember to enable notifications and subscribe to the channel in order to receive updates on any analysis of the next races. See you all later, people.